Ahoy mateys, this is BrickBeard, and with only 2 more Winter Village sets to go, today it's time for 2019's entry, and that is the Gingerbread House. So we're taking a turn into the fantastical realm again. Let's see how this delicious house fits in the rest of the Winter Village collection. Here it is, the Gingerbread House. So this set was released in 2019. I think this is still on the market, so if there's a Winter Village set that you're interested in, this is one of the few that you can still get, together with this year's release and of course last year's release, which we will look at in the next video, of course. At this point I did a review and a speed build of almost all the Winter Village sets, so we only have one more to go after this one. If you want to see all the other ones, you can click here for the playlist with all the Winter Village series builds. These also includes all the shorts that I'm doing, in which I'm introducing all the minifigures into my village. So have a look if you haven't done so already. I can also really recommend you to check out the speed build for this set, because it might not look like the biggest, most interesting build that we had so far in the Winter Village series. This is actually a very intricate build, and there's so many small pieces and details in here, which you can really get a good look at in the speed build video, which you can check out up here. Alright, let's take a good look at the set itself. And you can clearly see immediately from looking at this that they took a step into the fantastical realm again. Just like they did in Santa's workshop of a couple of years ago, that was not really that much based into a realistic type of building. And this takes it even one step further, right? But it is really an interesting, impressive build. Not only do you get the building itself, which is fully interiorated in the back, of course, you also get a lot of small side builds. So we get a nice Christmas tree, a pram, a rocking horse, a miniature train and a truck, some wrapped gifts, and a little snow shovel machine, I think it is, or a snow plow machine, something like that. It comes with 2 minifigures and one, well, baby, which is actually just a little plate that belongs to the 2 minifigures. But more about that later. Let's first go into the background information of this set. So this is 10267, the Gingerbread House from the Creator Expert line, and it was released in 2019. It comes with 1477 pieces. There's only one set in the Winter Village series that has more pieces, and that was the Winter Village Cottage, one of the very early releases in this whole theme. So there's a lot of pieces in this set, and it might not seem like that much, but there's so many tiny elements in the way this is built up that actually makes a very compact build, but still a huge amount of pieces with almost 1500. This retails for €100.90, which comes down to 6 to 7 cents per piece. That is very cheap, especially for one of the Winter Village sets, because most of them were around the 8 cents, maybe sometimes even 9 cents per piece. We even saw some that went way overboard, like the Holiday Train, that had 12 to 14 cents per piece. So this is actually one of the cheapest ones if you look at it in price count, which is 6 to 7 cents per piece. The designer of the set, there's actually 2, that's Florian Müller. He mostly worked in architecture and Creator Expert, and you can clearly see the influence of the architecture style in this build. There is, like I said, so many super small details, and the way this is built up, it's a very interesting techniques that they use. So that's really nice. And the second designer is Thiago Catarino, and he's very known for having worked for LEGO, but he quit recently, I think, and he also has his own YouTube channel, which you can of course check out. He worked mostly on ideas, creator and classic sets. As with all of these sets, it comes in a super nice elaborate box with all the information on the front and all the pictures. You also see that we get a light brick in this set, and on the back you can, as always, see the little close-ups of what this set has to offer, also on the inside of the set, which minifigures you have, what play features there are. The set comes with 2 instruction manuals. The first one is for all the little side builds that we see in front here, and the second one is for the main build itself. So this is actually, again, a nice way to be able to split it up and have maybe one of your kids, if you want to build it together, build the little micro builds while you can focus on the building. It's an easy set to split up in that sense. So like I said, the set comes with only 2 minifigures. That is the least amount we've seen in any of the Winter Village sets. That for me was a bit of a disappointment. I would have loved to see at least 2 more minifigures for a set of this size. But I get why they chose it. They really wanted to go for like a family house, so they have a mom and a dad and their little baby included. And baby is not even a minifigure, but just a printed 2x1 flat plate. So only 2 minifigures to focus on, but let's do that first and take an in-depth look at the minifigure selection before we go to rating this set. The first of the 2 minifigures is a gingerbread man. He comes with a unique headpiece that is specifically designed for this set, which looks like a round cookie with some chocolate in the middle. There's printing only on the front of it, where his eyebrows, mouth and moustache are made of frosting. We see the same frosting coming back on the body print on the front and on the back, with some white lines and some red buttons on the front, and on the back just the white lines and some dots. This gingerbread man has a regular sized leg piece in the orangey brown color. As an accessory he has a printed 2x1 tile with their baby printed on it. And the second minifigure is a gingerbread woman. She has the same unique headpiece, only with pink frosting in the middle, printing on the front with some red cheeks, red lipstick and a big smile on her face, also from the same frosting we saw on the male gingerbread man. This minifig has the same body print and the same leg piece that we saw in the gingerbread man as well, but she does have a unique skirt piece with the same white frosting in the same orangey brown color. And she as an accessory has a small baby drinking bottle. These are 2 very unique looking minifigures. So only 2 minifigures in this set, which is really a disappointment if you ask me. I would have loved to see a couple more in here. But the 2 minifigures that we get, they are super well designed. The print is super nice. They have special head molds that we've never seen before. A skirt piece that we haven't seen before, and they just fit the set so well. I think they really did an outstanding job on these minifigures. The only shame is that there is just 2 of them, but the quality is amazing and I'm gonna rate that a 7 out of 10. Now to the building experience. And the building experience, let's put it like this, that was not a piece of cake. This is really a creator expert set. We definitely had some of the Winter Village sets that were pretty easy to build and not too complicated. This is not one of them, although it might not look like it. This is a very, very intricate build. It's super interesting to do so. Also the way that the roofs are built up with hinges and hooks and everything, and Technic pins that they use to get them in this configuration. It's really cool. There is so much nice stuff in the build here. And I'm not even talking about the interior inside that also has some more small micro build. I will turn it around quickly. So we have a kitchen, we have a living room, up here we have a small bathroom and a bedroom, and there's just so much nice little details going on in here, which is really good for the building experience. But the main feature, of course, the house itself, it's just a complex build, and you can clearly see that someone with experience in the architecture line designed this set, because this is absolutely a completely different type of build than most of the other Winter Village sets. And for me that was a huge plus. I really enjoyed the build of this. When I first saw this, I couldn't believe how they managed to fit almost 1500 pieces in just this small build. But after building it, it really makes sense, and you get why you need so many pieces to get it shaped up in a way like this, and I think they did an outstanding job on that, so I'm gonna rate the building experience a 9 out of 10. Then for playability, it's a really good thing that you get all the little side builds next to here, because the main building itself doesn't have a huge amount of playability, except of course for the interior inside that you can use the minifigures to play around with. It really has a very cozy feeling. Let's look at the inside again. It really has a very cozy feeling, and it really screams family home in that sense. It has everything that a family home needs to have. It's really built around the idea of having 2 parents and a young child, and that is super nice for the playability. I think kids will love this with the 2 minifigures that come with it that have a very fantastical look to them, and still the more typical play of like having a family in a house. Other than that, one of the only play features that the house offers itself is there's a light brick inside, and you can see on front here that there's a huge chimney that at the outside of the house there's a fireplace, but you can also see that one from the inside of the house, so it's an open fireplace. And the light brick is placed in a way in the chimney that if you press it on the top here, it actually lights up the front and the back, so on the outside and on the inside, which is a super cool little detail. Let me turn it around so you can also see the inside. So that's very nice, really cool little detail here. But like I said, there's not a huge amount of real play features in the house itself. So luckily we do get some of the smaller builds next to it. We get a rocking horse that actually functions, and you can put the baby in there as well. We get a little pram, which is a bit of a shame because the wheels don't really turn, so it's more for show than for really practicality. This little snow shovel thing, which does turn and you can ride it around a bit. And then the micro builds, a little train and a little truck and some presents under the tree. Not a huge amount of playability, but I think this really sparks the imagination, and there is a lot to play around with without there being a lot of play features in the set. So for that reason I'm going to rate it a 7 out of 10 for playability. Display value, that's the next thing we have to rate here. And as if you see more of my Winter Village series videos, you know that I personally am much more a fan of the classical traditional builds, so the more real village buildings, and not really the fantastic builds like this. Santa's Workshop, for instance, which was was actually the first that took a step out of the real world in that sense, is to this date, I think, my least favorite of the Winter Village sets, because it just, I don't feel it fitting in with the rest of the Winter Village that well. So you would imagine that a set like this has the same problem, right? Because it's just a bit hard to combine in the Winter Village because it falls a bit out of place. But judging on it from its own standpoint, I think they did a fantastic job. This is absolutely, you can so clearly see immediately what it needs to represent, the Gingerbread House in a huge scale. And they did just a really good job with that. Yes, it is a bit harder to implement into the Winter Village because it really stands out from the other builds. But that also makes room for being a bit more creative in how to incorporate this, which I will show you in a couple of days, because on Christmas Day I will upload a video with my entire Winter Village completely done. So you can finally see what all this work has led up to. But coming back to that, the display value on its own, it's fantastic, and I'm going to rate that an 8 out of 10. The part selection of this set is actually very interesting, and not because there's an incredible amount of unique pieces in there. Yes, we have some minifigures and some pieces that are rare or unique, but not a lot. But the amount of bricks you get and the color scheme of the bricks you get, it's actually really good. You can do so much with this set. If you would break it down and build something of your own, I think you have a lot of possibilities to play around with, because most of it is built up with very small elements. So you can really go all ways with a set like this. And therefore I think the part selection really deserves a 7 out of 10. And the last criteria is the value for money. And like I said, with 6 to 7 cents per piece, that is really good value. With 1,500 pieces, they just did an amazing job in that. And I think that this is the balance in price per piece, or value for money, that they should hit with these Winter Village sets. I think 7 cents per piece is actually a very good balance, and although we have seen much more ones that were much more expensive, in the beginning they all started out around the 7 cents per cent margin, and this one follows that tradition, luckily. Also, because most of the parts are actually very small, it makes sense that it is a bit cheaper in price per piece ratio. But I also just think the model that you get in return for the $100 or 90 euros, it's absolutely outstanding, and therefore I'm going to rate the value for money also an 8 out of 10. And that comes down to an overall rating of an 8 out of 10. That is one of the higher ratings in the Winter Village. We have a lot of sets that are about the 7 out of 10, some of them that go really above it. but I think this is a fantastic set. Although it might be a bit harder to incorporate, it's just an amazing build, and it's really one that is more for the experienced builders and not really for the younger kids, I would imagine, because it's a pretty complicated build. And there you have it. That was the review of the Gingerbread House. We have only one more set to go, which will follow up really soon. And just make sure to check out all the videos I put out before in the playlist. And don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell so you stay updated. And keep your eyes open for that Winter Village, complete Winter Village video, which is coming out very soon. I think it's gonna be really, really amazing. If you like this video, please like and leave a comment and give me feedback that you have for me as a creator. It helps me out a lot. And that's it for this time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.